One of the biggest traps of any form of technology, I think, is to take what we do today and try and do it 10% better. But it is the most dangerous thing to do when it comes to a kind of a fundamentally disruptive paradigm transforming technology like artificial intelligence. AI, I think, today is already giving us the means to not just speed up our existing workflows. The way to use them is not to generate content, but to actually become a sparring partner, become a cognitive assistant, to actually challenge the work you've done. If you're just asking it to write a kind of 6-paragraph essay, then really what you're doing is just taking the average result of a particular thinking in an area and trying to submit it as your own. Individual consumers and professionals will have their own digital twins, their own digital doppelgangers, highly autonomous, personal digital extension of yourself. This agent will absolutely be reading your emails, be writing your correspondence, applying for bank loans, maybe go on job interviews. It'll essentially be your consigliere in the digital world. I think you got to take a step back. The only reason that you would embrace AI is because you've got a coherent plan for increasing your enterprise value. In the next 10 years, there's going to be a very stark definition in terms of winners and losers. Even very traditional industries, the difference between companies that are fully AI leveraged and those that haven't. So there's going to be an AI leveraged player in agriculture that's going to have a valuation that might be similar to Tesla. You're going to have something similar in life sciences. You're going to have something similar in logistics and financial services. Just like Tesla is outrageous valuation for an automotive player, but it's because people said this is a AI-powered version of an automotive player. Although to the degree to which Elon Musk plays along with that may depend on whether they give him more stock or not. Whatever investment we're making in AI that we're planning, how are we changing the system of work? If we're just kind of deploying a chatbot for customers to screw around with, or for people to ask interesting questions and generate reports, is this actually changing fundamentally the way that we design and deliver value? In previous industrial revolutions, there's always been the winners and losers in the same way, that the people that took that disruptive innovation, whether it was steam or electricity or computation, and were able to actually not just do what they did before a bit better, but to actually do something new and different to change the underlying economics. What we're already seeing is people are realizing the power of being able to ask a question and get an intelligent answer. It's becoming obvious that you're talking to something highly intelligent like ChatGPT or Claude, and then you go to a standard chatbot and it's like talking to someone with
voice prompts. Yeah,
it's like talking to a digital entity with a lobotomy. This thing is designed to actually make it impossible for you to answer your question or complete your task. It's much more impactful economically to go after the people with higher salaries. The kind of concept of a knowledge worker has to change. A knowledge worker used to be someone who knew things. But in this new environment, a knowledge worker is someone who's able to learn things, who can leverage these new platforms like AI, whatever the latest version of it's going to be, who use it to become kind of a sparring partner in driving their edge of knowledge frontiers beyond, never keeping them static. The very thing which makes us terrified has to actually be our raison d'etre, I think, in the future. We are really now equipped to be able to learn anything we want in a very precise and accessible way. And the reason for that, I always used to imagine that if you had the ultimate luxury, you'd have a private tutor, in the sense of the wealthy aristocrats of Europe. You never went to school or college. You basically had your own personal tutor you'd do a grand tour of Europe and they'd travel with you, and you'd be somewhere in Rome and there would be someone lecturing you on classical history or Latin or Greek as you were standing in the Parthenon. Or if you were a great leader like Alexander, you literally had Plato as your private teacher who was schooling you in the classics directly. Anyone can have this now. You can basically use in an early form these AI tools to kind of be your guide to kind of a world of infinite knowledge. If you have the curiosity and you have the questions and you have the passion, the ambition, and the drive, there is no limit to what you can learn. The time for screwing around and teaching executives how to write prompts, having a workshop on how to use generative AI, the time for that's past. This is the point where people need to be getting together and going, okay, not just generative AI, what is our strategy for putting AI at the core of our business? And if we don't do it, what is the consequences of one of our competitors putting AI at the core of their business? What would that look like? How would that impact us? For some companies, that may be okay. Maybe that we are prepared to take this valuation profile because we're not willing to risk the capital required to chase the kind of 100x version of it. And that is an entirely reasonable strategy for the vast majority of firms, as long as it's a conscious